Alright, I'm taking a little drive this morning. I've got a gig. So today's video is going to be another story time. I'm going to tell you some stories that have happened to me, like, at the gig. Alright, so I'm going to tell you 3 stories. The first one's just kind of funny and cute, I guess. The second one's kind of creepy and horrible. And the third one is kind of hilarious. Okay, so I used to play at this club called Bobby London. I played there a long time, like 6 years or something. Alright, so you gotta imagine it. It's this white baby grand piano on this little stage, and then the bar kind of wraps around it like a semicircle. And the most frequent patron of this bar happened to be like kind of older Korean businessmen. And the way they did it at Bobby London was, even though people are like surrounding my piano, if they wanted to hear a request, and they often did, they wrote it down on a piece of paper, handed it to the waitress, and the waitress would turn around and give it to me. That was the protocol. So one time, I get a little piece of paper passed to me, and it says on it, "Another word." A-N-O-T-H-E-R word. Another word. And I think, what the heck? Now I've got my trio up there with me, so I tell it to them, and we're all like scratching our heads. Another word, never heard of it, right? So we're thinking. All of a sudden it dawns on me. I know what it is. They want to hear "Fly Me to the Moon." In other words, hold my hand. In other words. So this cute little Korean man, his whole life had thought that when it says "in other words," it really is just saying another word. And not only did he think that that's what the lyric was, I mean, we always hear about misheard lyrics, right? He thought that was the title of the tune. It's a little like if somebody wanted to hear "Bad Moon Rising" and they wrote down on a slip of paper, "There is a bathroom on the right." Same thing. Alright, the next one's just awful. I still hate to think about it, but I'm going to tell it to you. Alright, there's this other place I play at. I still play there, so I won't say the name. And it's a grand piano just right in the middle of the restaurant. There's tables everywhere. Piano's right in the middle. And one time, this man came in, and he sat kind of to the side at the sushi bar, the sushi place, and he listened to me for like one song, and then he very purposefully walked over to the piano, took out a $100 bill, dropped it in my jar, and went and sat somewhere else. So I'm thinking, gosh, generous man, okay, that's nice. Then he walks up to me after a couple more songs, and he says, "Can you play Unforgettable?" Sure I can. $100, I'll play the crap out of Unforgettable. Then I start to play Unforgettable, and he walks over to a lady. There's two ladies sitting at a table together. It's evidently girls' night. They left their husbands at home. They're out for sushi together. He walks over and decides to ask one of them, so, you know, the one he thinks is cuter, if she wants to dance with him. This is not a dancing establishment. She declines. He goes back over and sits at his table. I finished the song, and then he comes and asks me if I could play another song. I don't remember what it was. Okay, so I play that song. He goes back up to the table of the two ladies and begs her to dance. He's like, "Look, I gave the piano player a $100 tip, and she's playing these songs and nobody's dancing to them." So these two ladies and me, we're all thinking, creep, right? So finally she relents, because he's like a 2-year-old. And they dance, and the other woman just sits there at the table, whatever, looking at her phone, thinking, nice girls' night. And then the song ends, and he goes and sits down. Thankfully, he leaves her alone. And I finish up my set. Here's where I make my first mistake. I figure since he has given me a $100 tip, I should probably go over there and say thank you, and then I'll go to my back room and take my break. So I tried to do that. I told him, hey, thanks for the tip, it was really nice. And that's when he says, sit down, let me buy you a drink. No, I'm good, thanks, I gotta go eat. No, I got something I want to discuss with you. People who leave the giant tip rarely do it just because they want to be nice. Usually an ulterior motive. So then he starts telling me how he's in the business, and he's got a recording studio, and I would sound great on the radio. Anyway, on and on and on and on about how he wants me to come record at his studio. I gave him a fake phone number. Then I left. Right? So I don't know, but he probably tried to call me a couple times, and I have to go back there and play the next week. So I'm just praying this guy doesn't show up again. He comes. First thing he does is walk in, put $100 in my jar. My heart's beating. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So I just decided that I'm not gonna look at him once. I'm not gonna acknowledge the $100 bill or that I even saw him come in the room. And for the first time in my life, I play my piano dinner gig and sing and never look up. I pretend like I don't know how to play piano. I'm just looking at the keys the whole time. I played the whole set, probably a good 45 minutes, and never, ever, ever one time looked up. I took my break, I walked straight to the back room, and in a second, the waiter came back and he goes, hey Amy, that guy just walked up to your tip jar, took out his $100 bill and left. Whew. That's the most normal thing that guy did. Hands down. Yeah, best thing he could have done. Set my mind at ease, and then I just, hoped every time I came after that he was never going to come again, and thankfully he never did. So, whew. Creep story over. The next story happened to me not very long ago. As a musician, you're always kind of getting people either coming up to you, telling you strange things, making weird requests, asking you, I don't even know, writing to you. And sometimes I don't mind. If people do it in a cool way, it's fine. Like a lot of times people will write to me and tell me songs that they like, that they think I should cover or something. It's cool. It's nice. I appreciate the, thoughtfulness. But one time recently, I'm playing with a trio and we finish our set and this older man walked right up, made a beeline for me. And he goes, hey, you guys, you're playing jazz. That's great. This morning I was over at LA Fitness. I'm on the elliptical next to a buddy of mine. He comes to the gym all the time, and he's a bass player. He's played with everybody. He's played with Tom Jones. He's been on the Letterman show. He was on Johnny Carson. I think he was on Leno. I can't remember if he was on Leno, but he's played with everybody. And I'm just listening to him, and he's trying to think of more people that his buddy on the elliptical has played with before. And anyway, I don't typically say anything mouthy, but I did this time. So I just looked at him and I said, well, that's great. What should I do about that? Well, I felt bad immediately because it definitely had the effect I thought it would. It caught him off guard. He realized what he had been doing, and he just went, oh, yeah, you guys sounded really good. You're a really good piano player. I said, thank you very much, and he walked away. The other typical thing that'll happen is that somebody will walk up to me after a gig, and they'll just say, do you listen to Norah Jones? And I'll say, yeah, she's great. And then they'll proceed to tell me how amazing Norah Jones is, for a good minute or two. And all I can do is just nod my head and agree. I don't know why. They just forget. Like, they forget why they came up. Or I don't know, maybe he wanted to tell me he thought I sounded like Norah Jones, or I don't know what it is. But there's a moral to the third story. It's if you're going to walk up to a musician after the gig, just tell her she did a good job. She'll say thank you. You'll feel good, and be no awkwardness. That's it. Like, you can do it. Thanks for listening to Story Time. I got to get to my gig. Talk to you later.